Hello world, my name is Ihor and this is a Techno Break. And today I have Metropolix in my case, and Metropolix is the main reason why I have a bigger case actually, because it's like 34 HP, and if I would put it into the 62 HP pallet case, it would take like more than half, and then there is not going to be a lot of space for other modules. But anyway, today I would like to make a demo of Metropolix, and it's not going to be an all in-depth kind of video about it. But if you are interested in that, you can check this video of Loop Up where he goes in all the details of it. And today I wanted to share a couple of ideas or tricks on how to use the Metropolix for making techno actually. So Metropolix is a 2-track sequencer. So it basically has track 1 and track 2. But when I started looking into it, I understood that this track 1 and track 2, they are almost the same. Like from the really beginning, they are the same because they share same pitch sliders, they share same pulse count switches and gate type switches. And I was like, why would you need 2 tracks, like to just duplicate the first track? But then when I figured out how to differentiate in between those tracks, it actually made a lot of sense to me. And it makes it easier and hands-on as well to play 2 voices with it. So today I have Dixie and I have Manis Iteritas going through filters and some envelopes and stuff like that. And also I have a Digitakt where I prepared all the kind of techno groove already. And the palette case connected to the Digitakt, like 2 outputs. And I'm gonna be connecting Dixie and Manis as 2 different outputs, like left and right. And then here on the external mixer, they will be mixed as 2 different mono synthesizers. And also MIDI is coming from the Digitakt into the palette case. So yeah, let's start patching. And if you are not interested in patching process, feel free to jump to this timestamp where the music comes already. So yeah, and I'd like to start with patching the clock. And one thing to mention here that I reconfigured this module to receive the run signal instead of reset, and it makes a lot of sense. And also in Metropolix, there is a setting to receive reset input as run that allows me to, to patch the reset or run signal and then patch the clock signal as well. And then Digitakt will be able to start and stop the sequence, right? So let me just go and initialize a new preset. Yes. And the next thing I'd like to patch the track 1, and it's going to be our Dixie. So basically pitch from Metropolix goes into the Dixie, and gate from Metropolix goes into trig 1 of Quadrax. So when it comes to Quadrax, today I'm going to be using it as attack, hold, release envelopes for all the filters and VCAs. So basically first one is going to be VCA for Dixie, second one is VCF envelope for Polaris, basically for Dixie as well. So let's do that. So we've got our trig and Dixie. The pulse wave will go into the filter. Yes, like that. And then from the filter, we're gonna go into the VCA. And the first envelope is gonna be our VCA envelope. And output from the VCA is going to go into another VCA, which I use as a mixer actually. So here we go. And another thing is that output 2 of the Quadrax is going to be our filter envelope. So I'm going to patch it into FM1. And on Quadrax, basically, if you set the second envelope here into the red like button position, it's going to be triggered at the same time as the first envelope without patching the trig 2. So yeah, sweet. Let's patch the second track. Pitch from it goes into Manis Iteritas, and then gate goes into Quadrax as well, into trig 3, which is going to be also triggering the 4th envelope. And output from Manis is going to go into the filter, from the filter into the VCA, longer cable. I'm going to use this VCA. And from the VCA, it's gonna go into the output B. And here I'd like to grab the third envelope. It's gonna be our VCA envelope. And the fourth envelope is gonna be the VCF envelope for MUM M8. And one thing to make on Manis, because I'd like to use it today as an oscillator, is to go with an envelope, with an internal envelope all the way to the right. And then Manis will become an oscillator, actually. It's not gonna trigger the internal envelope. So yeah, with this in mind, I think we are ready to hear some sounds. First things first, I'd like to set some volume here on the mixer in the Digitakt. I think 80 is something about right. It really all depends on your kind of sound check and also all the gains, because I have like several gains all the way to the Digitakt. But anyway, so, and here one of the cool features of Metropolix is tuning. So I go into settings tuner, and it sets all the gates to high, and the pitch goes to C1 or C2, whatever. And then we can actually hear the oscillators. And as we can hear, they are not in tune. So let's tune the Dixie. Yeah, this is about right. Again, we don't need like really perfect tuning right here. So if I start sequence, as we can see that we already have like the clock running and the run signal is running. And if I stop it, it stops the sequence. And it also resets if you start over again, which is quite handy. So few things about Metropolix. First of all, it has stages or steps. But in Metropolix terms, they are stages, and it's 8 of them. And every stage has pitch slider, which basically decides which pitch it's gonna be at. So it's gonna, you know, like go higher or lower in pitch every single stage. Pulse count decides how many clock pulses it's gonna be on this stage. So for example, if I increase this one to 5, it's gonna stay on this stage for 5 counts, okay? Which makes entire sequence actually longer. Instead of having 8 steps, we have like 7 steps where it goes 1 step and then, or 1 pulse, and then 1 step, which goes 5. And that makes it like 7 plus 5, 12 steps, right? And another thing is that the gate type decides what kind of gate is gonna be here. So for example, right now, if all these things are in the bottom position, it means that there is no gonna be any gate. But if I switch this one to the first one, that means that first stage is gonna generate 1 trig, right? Or if I go here, this one also gonna generate 1 trig. But there is another thing, is that you can go here, and it's gonna generate 5 trigs. Like how many pulses there are, it's gonna generate the exact amount of trigs as well, or gates. And on the top, it's gonna generate like a long gate actually. So there is like, and again, both of the tracks share exactly the same thing here, like exactly same sliders and switches. So if I go, for example, I do this and this, right? Something like this. This is Dixie. And this is Manis. And yeah, we can do this. Okay. And that's pretty much it when it comes to these kind of slides and counts. They share exactly the same thing. Another thing which we can set is scale. So basically going here into scale, and we can select all kind of different scales, like melodic minor, for example, is really good for techno. But Lately, I was in love with Phrygian scale. I think it's really good for techno, actually. And also with Alt, you can select which root note is going to be. But since our oscillators are tuned, I don't know which note. Actually, it doesn't really make sense. So I'm going to keep it in Phrygian C. That means whenever you introduce, like whenever you work with this slider, it's going to always land the pitch to one of the notes on this scale, as you can see here on the screen, right? Which is pretty cool, actually. Let's maybe make some sound a little bit, make a little melody kind of thing, you know, and work with Dixie a little bit. And then the filter envelope. Yes, and let's introduce a couple of other. Yeah, it's, you see, like simple like that, and we have our bass line. And maybe we can introduce, I know, a couple more trees. But now what happens is that whenever like I introduced more trigs, like 3 instead of 1 right here, or gates, it became longer sequence. So basically right now I have 10 steps. And to land to, you know, 16th note, I need to introduce perhaps a little bit more. So let's introduce, so right now we have 10. Let's introduce, I don't know, 3 more here. And then 3 more here, basically 4. And again, math, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have plus 8 here, it's going to be 13, and plus 3 here is going to be 16. Perfect. And again, it shares. Manis and Dixie together. But that's where I'd like to start separating them a little bit. And let me switch all these to defaults. And let's say that we would like to have first track to be 16th steps. And I can go like, this one is 3, this one is 3, this one 2, 2, and it's going to be like 6, and then 10, and then this one 4, and this one 2, for example. And then I can go into edit, skip, and skip 2 last steps. So basically track 1, selected right here, is not going to go into these 2 steps. Let's listen to that. Let's enable some. Maybe we can do this. Yeah. Yeah, something like that. And let's listen this with the kick drum. So it's perfectly lands to, you know, to the sequence amount. But the problem right now is following that. If I go with like with Manis, so it's a little bit random because it has 18 steps. So if we go into track 2 right here, it shares again the same pitch values, the same pulse counts, and the same gate type. One of the things it doesn't share is skips. So basically it still plays these 2 gates at the end. So, like I can do this. That means that we can skip some other steps and make a different melody here, but still on the same scale, right? So how many do we need to skip? I think if we skip like these 4 and maybe these 2, no, let's not skip the high pitch one, but maybe we can skip, yeah, these 2. So in total we skipped 6 of them. So we have to get back with 6 maybe here as well. Let's do it like this. And the last one is gonna be triggering quiet on every single trick. And let's listen to that. And now with, so again, it lands to the 16th. You know what? Let's do it a little bit different. Let's land it into, not into 16, but rather into 12. So we need to remove 4 more. Maybe we can remove this one. So it's 3 here. Maybe we can make this one as 2. And then remove these 3, for example. Or maybe first 3. Let's do it like this. So in total, let's double check. We have 3, 5, then plus 2, 7, plus 3, 10, and then plus 2, 12. Perfect. So we've got this. And let's listen together with the bass line. And let's add some reverb. Some delay into the kind of lead sound and a little bit reverb to the bass line. So they sound cohesive, they sound in the same scale, but they have like different polymeter. One goes 12 steps, another one goes 16 steps, and I think that's pretty cool. Let's use another filter here. So another cool feature actually I wanted to show you here. So these are the skips and they differ per track. Another thing here is the slide. So basically it makes like pitch slides, helps us to get even more crazy with some bass lines. Like we can nice. And also it has like if you go into the slide setup here, you can set different amount of slide or different slide type, like acid, sort of like 303 style. Let's leave it like that. And another feature here, like let's go into the track 2, edit accumulator. So basically this one is a little bit tricky. Maybe not that tricky actually. So what it says is that, like, let's listen to the second track. It says, like, let's say on these steps, on this step, we would like to, every time it hits this step, we would like to go a little higher. And it still stays on the same scale, and we can basically, you know, change amount of like how many steps it goes higher. And also we can say that it goes higher on every pulse or maybe on every stage. So it's gonna be like twice the same and then higher twice, but if we set it to pulse, on every pulse it increases. But then it also resets. There is a way to set reset value, so how many semitones it goes up before it resets back to the default value. Or we can go down. Yeah, let's leave it like this. I think it's actually cool. Of course, Metropolix has way much more things and way many different opportunities to go into all the depth of it. But for this demo, I think that's pretty much it. Recently, they introduced even the presets chaining. You can basically save the preset and then work it a little bit more, like change the melody or something, and then yeah, chain it with the previous one, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I think this is pretty much it for today. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If so, put a like on it. If you did not put it, dislike and let me know how can I improve those videos for you. Consider subscribing to support this channel. And have fun.